Down here today. I'm going to be talking about today's conversation is about the knowledge of the conversation today. Something to really get you pondering and thinking just for a brief moment. So, for those of you who are coming in, I want to say thank you for stopping by and spending your time with me today. Uh, so, today we're going to talk about knowledge of craft masonry. And I'm going to send a few people a big shout out because they have really inspired me in this journey as I've had a personal connection and conversation with them. The first person I'm going to send this shout out to is going to be the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, for whom I had the privilege and to listen to him. And the next person had the opportunity of interviewing him, talking with him, and listening in as he has shared his knowledge regarding Freemasonry. And he is a Mason, just as the Honorable Louis Farrakhan is a Mason. The next person I'm going to say is Professor Kwame. I just spoke with him not long ago. He's over in Africa right now. And he'll be coming back on real soon. We're speaking in regards to that. But him sharing a lot of pertinent information regarding Freemasonry has really enlightened me and opened my eyes to some things I thought I knew. I thought I knew, right? And gave me a different perspective and to look in other directions and books regarding Freemasonry. The last but not least is Professor Clark. Yeah, that guy right there. He was a Mason too. He was a Mason too. And I watched a video not long ago with him speaking at a Prince Hall function and explaining to them the principles and guidance of Freemasonry and where it actually comes from. Very interesting video. I enjoyed it. It's about maybe an hour along thereabouts. And I listened to what he had to say. And it really, like I said, gave me a different perspective on Freemasonry and to look at it from different points of views of view. And I say that to say this. Sometimes when we who have been initiated into this rites of passage, we tend to forget that it is truly a rites of passage. And I say that because within the framework of the African American diaspora, the person goes from being a boy to a man per se. Other cultures may have that, but when I look at Freemasonry, I look at it as being that bridge, especially if you're young and you're coming to Masonry. I see it as that bridge of saying, okay, you're about to be amongst the elders of those individuals who have a certain level of information and knowledge that would assist and aid you along this journey in life. I've seen lately is none of that. But I want to just say and just take a look at it from a different point of view. Can you be a moderator? I'll think about that one. You know, I'll get at some thought. I'll get at some thought. First of all, before you act, are you a Mason? If so, what jurisdiction? You know, that sort of thing. You know, I don't really care if you're Prince Hall or whatever. I just want to know if you're a Mason. You're here, who are Prince Hall Masons, and they are also mediators when they come up. So that doesn't really matter. So I find that to be kind of, it's not even worth my time answering. I am a Mason, period. I won't get in regarding knowledge of craft masonry in regards to those in Freemasonry as it is right now. Those four are the leaders. Now, I had a brother not long ago, a couple of years ago, what can I say about him? Never met him before, but boy, did he touch my life. That being said, as I indulge into Freemasonry from a knowledge, craft, masonry point of view, everything I thought over the years totally changed. Because when I, as a young man, got into this thing we call Freemasonry, I had older gentlemen around me, which was great. And their perspective was a Western perspective of Freemasonry. So I had a lot of books I would read. So when I would bring this to their attention, it was like, oh, you don't need to read that. So I set the book aside. But as other brothers who began to join my lodge, such as Eric Sutton, uh, such as Brother Darnell, such as Brother Mark Ford, there are others who came through those doors of Hosea Lodge number 7. And also, I can't forget Brother Calvin Sanders, who's now past master of Aries Lodge. I can't forget him, who's now my sitting Grand Master. Those to the craft. And I would say that because it definitely has had an influence on me and my way. It introduced me to other individuals who was already where I wanted to be, in so many words. Greetings, brother. How you doing, Brother Lee Hall? I hope everything is well. Can you do a live on the 32nd degree again? Yes, I can. I can definitely do that. Okay. Yeah, I'll do that for you. So as I began to journey into Freemasonry, I was in a Facebook group, and what I seen in this particular group, I don't recall the name offhand, but anyway, so I was in the group, and people in the group began to point me out as far as my particular jurisdiction, and me being very knowledgeable in Freemasonry and understanding craft masonry, I retaliated, in so many words. I really hit below the belt. And I don't mind telling you what I said. In this particular group, they were challenging me regarding culture, regarding Freemasonry, the whole thing. It was a back and forth. So I started off by saying this. Freemasonry, as we know it today, was definitely, has been definitely I want to be kind of polite with what I want to say. No, forget about it. It's been stolen. It's been taken. It's been divvied up and said to you that you can't be a part of this. Okay? And in this particular group, I went back and forth with the individuals in there, and I told them what we practice today, and you've heard me say it many times before, is a Western style of Freemasonry. So as I began to educate myself in craft masonry and the knowledge within it, they started introducing me to different books. And as I began to crack these books open to look into them for what they are, I was like, okay, so where does this symbol come from? Where does this sign comes from? So when I started looking at the etymology of things and where they come from and how the legend was written, I had my moment. I had my moment of clarity. I had my moment of understanding and everything, just as Professor Smalls told me. The masonry itself and the craft is is a knowledgeable institution. It should be used to uplift and educate a person, okay? Because knowledge has no gender to it. Knowledge has no gender to it. So when you apply craft masonry to the way you're trying to live your life and the way you're trying to exclaim and to move forward in this thing we call life, it should gradually be a change about it, only because of the symbolism that lies within it. And that was one of the things the brothers used to always tell me, brother, go look at the symbolism. Where did it come from? Where did they first notice it? Or where did it first find it? And why do they do this and do that? So when I started researching the whys, it was by those individuals in my own Masonic Lodge and by those outside that had an influence on my way of thinking. I've already named them. I'm like, okay, so you mean to tell me these symbolism derive from here? That's where these symbolism comes from. I said, okay, so what does these symbolism mean? And how do I take and apply them? When you get there, everything else goes out the window. Thank you. Please hit the like button. Thank you so much. Greetings, Brother George from Arizona. When you get there, everything else goes out the window, because I would tell you this. There are some brothers who are very knowledgeable in the symbolism of masonry, but will fail in the Q&A. They couldn't answer a freaking question in the Q&A. But when you come to asking them regarding the symbolism, where it comes from and how do you apply it to your life, they will give you, they'll put you in a washing machine. They would do that. There are brothers out here who may not know the Q&A as you know the Q&A and identifying who's a Mason. But when it comes down to the way they carry themselves and live their life, you will be like, dang. And they will tell you, man, look, I'll take the symbolism and I'll apply it literally to what I'm trying to accomplish and do. I'm going to tell you something that happened recently in my own lodge meeting. And that was, I have a brother, name is Dr. Dean. He's a professional, he's a doctor. And he was saying, brothers, I'm having some issues as far as being able to come to my meetings and deal with my profession. And we was like, wow, maybe we can help you out, brother. Maybe there's something that we can do to assist and aid you in trying to solidify that. And so each brother in the meeting gave an opinion on how you are able to apply those symbolism to your journey, so you will be able to meet the needs and do the things you do as a Mason, right? So we took the 24-inch gauge, for instance, because he was complaining about his time. We said, brother, that gauge is used for you to be able to deal with work, family, friends, lodge meeting, and everything. Sometimes your work is going to be what it is, your work, and we are not going to interfere with that whatsoever. Okay? So if you need to say, brother, go do it. And sometimes you'll be in your lodge and you'll be like, this is great. I'm glad I came to the lodge meeting tonight. So you're going to have to be able to break that down in such a way to where that brother who has a very busy schedule will understand how to apply that 24-inch gauge. And then you're going to have to be able to break down those other emblems that applies to, because everybody don't have the time to go to every meeting. Everybody don't have the money to pay every dues night. So what we do, and I'm only talking about my jurisdiction, is because what happens is you may have a brother that may have the money but don't have the time. So he may make a contribution towards things that you want done as far as the lodge is concerned. And there are some brothers who don't have the time, that has the time but don't have the money. So he's able to apply his time to the things that's going to help benefit the lodge. Too many times we kick individuals out of the lodge because they didn't pay their lodge dues. But you don't know what that person is going through. You have no idea of the struggles that he is going through to come to him and say, brother, you need a break. We got you this week. You don't have to worry about your dues. We know you're trying to move and get into a new home or an apartment in your house. Brother, don't even worry when you're in it and getting it and having an understanding of the knowledge and wisdom of the craft masonry. A lot of us don't have the knowledge, the wisdom of craft masonry. We have a knowledge of is a frat. And sometimes those who come in, they talk a good game, baby. They didn't got you. They in now. And as soon as the waters get high, and as soon there are some brothers that I'm stable, I'm situated, and there are some brothers out there don't have the job, but they want to be a Mason. Situation, brother, some slack, because you have to be knowledge of craft masonry. Bring him in and apply the knowledge. Give him the connections for him to get using. People, other lodges do it all the time. It seems to me that a lot of us are afraid to do that for it. But we must be able to take those anchorated things and show that. You must be able to do that. I'm going to bring it down to you. So we talk about the beehive, which is one of the emblems of a Mason. And what do bees do? You know, they're governed by a queen bee, but what do they do? How do they help each other along the way in bettering the hive? They are industrious. Bees are industrious. They are all about building. They are all about making the hive. So this is what we need. Need the number to call in. You can't call in right now, bro. Not today. But if you want to reach me after this is over, you certainly can. 5582. But I can't talk. I can't take calls just right now. It would be wonderful if I was able to. That would be great. But I can't right now. But what I will say is that as we indulge in this thing we call Freemasonry, as we look at it for what it's worth, and why we have certain things as a column, and see what is the meaning of the broken column, and see what is the meaning of the instruments that are given to you, and in the etymology of those things. Because what happens is you have them, but do you apply them? You have them, but do it work for you? You have all of that, but have you thought about where did it come from? How does it apply to me? Not just from a Western Masonic thought process, but from a universal Masonic process masonry. There is truly a difference. And when you get there and understand the difference between Western style masonry and universal masonry, all the bickering, all the back and forth that I get involved with, all of the small stuff, man, that shit goes out the window. And then you begin to think from the whole point of view. Because what happens is you begin to meet and greet real sisters with their lips. Not just with their lips, but it's really in their heart. Because some Masons pay you real good lip service. They got your shit on lock. They give you that real good lip service. So when it happens, and we look at it, we be like, man, really? Really? But we have to get away from that. What I see in craft masonry, I want to be able to share it with the young brothers who come in. I want to be able to share with those young brothers who are not even interested, but because of the occult factor, they may say, oh, you know what? I seen this movie or that movie. So I want to be able to talk with them and relate to them in such a way that it gets them to thinking about the very thing that they see. You know, because when you begin to see things that other people don't see, a whole lot of things happen. Let me tell you, I'm talking about those who really understand the knowledge, the occult knowledge of Freemasonry and craft masonry. When they understand that, they see things that other people don't see. I'm going to say this again. Those brothers and individuals who see masonry from the occult side, and that's not bad. That's not bad. That's actually great. You see things that other people don't see because of your study, your knowledge of craft masonry, the symbolism and everything. You see the symbolism in things that other people don't see. You know why this is like it is because you have studied it. And a lot of brothers don't study it. They just become Masons. Can you explain collectively individualism? Okay, let me finish this and I'll get into that. Because what happens is knowledge of craft masonry, when you do that and begin to indulge in, you will see the other side of what you have learned. And when I say the other side, it's just like, man, it's just like having an hourglass, or it's just like having a ball, and you can be able to see, you see certain symbols and signs, and your thought process is different than that of the average person. Like a person who deals in astrology, and Masonry does deal in astrology, when you look at the 12 symbols of the different zodiacs, you don't see them like everybody else. When you look at the clock, you don't see the clock like everybody else. When you see the hourglass, you don't see it like your whole thought process is differently because of the occult symbolism and the things like that follow within way over here. So when I talk to someone like Professor Kwame, who has traveled, who have seen, who have touched, who have been in the temples, the Grand Lodge of Lux, he can break things down that I probably never could because he's done it. He's been there. He's seen it. Such as somebody who's gone now, Professor Clark, who's seen it. He's been there. He's touched. He was raised in the Nile. See, his raising was different. He was raised in the Nile. You know, he was created a Shriner. Professor Clark was indeed a true Mason. So when you speak to somebody like that, who, man, all you have to do is just listen. Even when I was at the home of the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, he sit us down and we was talking and asking him questions. He began to break down certain things to us who all thought we was well knowledgeable in Freemason. We was all there. We all thought, man, we all lit. But to sit at the feet is different. It's different. And a lot of us, we're not willing to listen to those who actually have been there at the temples, those who have studied, those who, plain and simple, it ain't even rocket science. That's a fact, you know. So this is what we have to do when we think about the knowledge and the craft mason. We have to be able to pull in and have a better understanding of what we are involved with, universal speaking. And I'm gonna go back. I think a brother asked me a question here just recently. Can you explain collective individualism? That's when you are all on the same page. You understand, I wanna say you understand the code, okay, of what you're trying to do and how you're trying to do it. You understand that. So collectively and individually, you can move swiftly. In other places, Masonry operates like that. They actually operate like that. You know, collectively, we all know what Masonry is all about. Individually, it is my journey. So when we come together, it's my journey, but collectively, we're all moving. We're all going through we're all moving in such a way till it's beautiful. So when people say, man, Masonry is trying to take over the world. No, Masonry is not trying to take over the world. They're not. That's when people think of it collectively. But individually, we all have our journey. Just so happens in this journey, because you've gone through the rites of passage and understand why you went through it. Why I said, my life you can have, my integrity never. Why could I not give the man? It is so immersed into my opinion alone, it is so immersed in the Africana rites of passage until it's unreal. But because I personally believe, I can't speak for no one else, I believe because of the Western influence in it, it has been kind of really watered down, really shallow. It's shallow now. But we all know, for those of us who came through years ago, this thing was deep. And it's still deep once you're able to get in it and understand it and break it down. So look, I appreciate everybody coming in. My time is up, man. And this has been really beautiful once again. So look, I'm gonna give my number again. That is 858-707-5582. You can hit me up after we've done here or text me because I wasn't able to cover everything I wanted to cover. This is just a little my break, but So I told